I am so delighted to welcome Yolanda Cope-Stepney to this series of International Women's Week Day on Dual Scholars Instagram. So Yolanda is an extraordinary woman who has created Speak and Do, Speak On, which is a great podcast, which I was a guest on, amazing, which I loved. And she is also the creator and founder of the Festival of Confidence. And I would love you to share with listeners and anybody who's watching a bit more about Festival of Confidence and the work you do as well with women, because you really are an extraordinary international woman.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for letting me be part of this with you. It's really cool. I love everything that you do as well, and I love that we have been able to connect on Instagram. It's always great to find awesome women on Instagram, and then you speak to them once and you're like, oh, this is my friend now. That's what I felt like. It was like I spoke to you and it felt like I've known you for about 10 years. It's brilliant. But
Totally.
what I do is I have several companies and a lot of them are quite female centric. So just starting with Speak and Do is my agency, and I represent influencers and speakers in the well-being and activism space. And when I started it, it was female centric because when influencer land started, before it was called that, so when I first signed my first few clients, they had contracts elsewhere that were just terrible, exploited. One of them was held in the car by men to sign it. It was like that. So I didn't actually intend to start that company or have it be so female centric, but I built a team. I had all female staff because I wanted it to be a safe space for our clients, and then built our roster from there. And essentially I did it because it was protecting young girls. And I say girls because some of these people, they were teenagers, essentially. They weren't women yet, from this kind of slightly perilous industry. And we know what kind of things happen in modeling, so think about what can happen adjacent to that. And that's how that kind of started, and then it grew from there, and I've had that for a few years. Then over time I kept thinking I'd really like to have some kind of event that celebrated and boosted confidence. And the reason was I was working with these extraordinary young women and girls who were influencers, and so many of them had confidence issues. And it was wild, and I was like, it was really interesting. They presented so like, look at me, I'm so confident and beautiful and everything else, but really what I
Underneath.
behind the scenes is their self-esteem was so low, and so much of it was an act essentially. And I really wanted to explore that and understand it, and I wanted to create a space that would help them realize that the things that I know are special about them are special, and they are cool, and there are other women that feel the same way. They weren't in isolation. So I started my company. It was brilliant. Everything was just like straight off the ground. And then in my personal life I had this, like, it was wild. In less than 2 years, 9 members of my family died. My long-term relationship ended in a hideous way, and I was so affected. But I was soldiered on. I was on autopilot. I still ran my company. I still did everything. But inside, obviously, it was just horrendous what was going on. So you carry on as women do. And then I realized that there were parts of my confidence and self-esteem affected, despite the fact that I feel like I'm a fairly robustly confident person as well. I've been raised to really believe in myself and just get on with things, have no fear.
But I think life kind of kicks those things into us, and we kind of, but I think that's good, because then it makes us look at, it's like, I think one of the themes is that we're always a student through life, and we can always look at stuff, and we can always kind of go back and, grow. And
exactly, yeah. And I think that was all of that was a teaching moment, a learning moment, a growing moment. And then when I was pulling together, I was like, I'm going to do Festival of Confidence. And in a way, it became this cathartic thing for me, because I realized that the women that I was pulling together to be in the lineup and be involved in it were all women who had boosted different parts of my confidence through that time when essentially my life was falling apart. It was like every few months someone was dying, every few months I'm in the hospital or going to a funeral or something, but then I'm still having to take care of all these people on my roster, and I had tons of staff, and I had staff in different parts of the world. as well, and clients in different parts of the world. It was a lot to juggle, and I hadn't realized the effect it had. So then that's why the Festival of Confidence, it went from being this kind of project to being this big poignant thing. And not many people know this. On the day when it happened, I don't know why I thought no one was coming. People had bought tickets. I was convinced I was convinced no one was coming, and it wasn't going to be enough people. And then the day we were in this like cupboard space sorting everything out, and one of the girls that works for me, Kerry, came in. I say girl, she's a woman. She came in, she's like, there's a queue. And her and Helen came in as well. She's like, there's a queue. And I was like, we're talking about queue. Everybody is here.
I love
goes,
that.
Open yet? We had like 20 minutes before it started. And all these women were just waiting. And they were like, oh no, we're just waiting. And I'd set up a reception area, and they were just all talking to each other, having tea. And I just burst into tears.
I bet.
I didn't stop crying for about 10 minutes. And I was there with Cherry Shakewell, who's one of my friends, is a burlesque dancer. And she's just standing there, topless one, just hugging me while she's getting ready.
And
I'm just crying all over her. But yeah, that's what it is. And we've had 2 now, and I have so many plans and so many cool things, but it's all about women, and just women are great. And
they are.
Yeah, I don't know why it is. I think that I just am, but I suppose I come from a very matriarchal family as well. In my family, the women just outdo the men all the time. So it's not even something I've had to be taught or know.
No, it's just been
anyway.
Yeah, from day one. I love that. I love that. And it's you know, you exude it as well, which I love.
But yeah, it's just part of life. And I think one thing that my parents have taught me, and like my dad's as well, I have a new age family. I have 2 mums and 2 dads.
Fabulous.
Right, extra presents. But but then one thing they've always taught me as well is that they were like, look, life for women, it's difficult. Life for Black women, it's difficult. You have to work twice as hard to have half as much. Everybody is going to be suspicious of you. Not everybody's going to give you a chance. A lot of people aren't going to give a crap about your talent. You just have to forge your own path. And my dad always taught me as well, if your name's not above the door, calibrate how hard you're working, and if you need to work for yourself. And it's that thing where they've always said, you know, with it, when it comes to life for women, it's presented to us that women aren't there for each other. It's presented to us that we're competitive. It's presented to us that we need to be taught to put don't take down someone else's crown, adjust their crown. Oh, the crown. And it's like, no, women have always done this. What do you think a coven is? We don't need to be told to support each other and adjust each other's crowns.
We know.
We'll all burn together in Salem.
Yeah.
It's fine. We together. Women have been doing it. We don't need to support it. At the end of the day, there's 100 cups of tea and men have got 99. We're not fighting for that 1 cup of tea. Men, we're coming for yours. We want the same representative amount cup of tea. We don't want that one for that woman. We're happy for her. We're going to help her drink that tea, but we want yours. It's not about us fighting for 1 tea. And I don't. And that narrative is something that I just.
I like that analogy. Yeah. I like that analogy a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we're all, excuse me, I think we're all just tired, actually. It's like enough. But we all have to show up for each other and to trust that we're going to be okay if we do that. And I think there's something so deep rooted in women. You're talking about sort of a coven, and, you know, and us all having these, you know, the red tent, whatever you want to call it, you know, wherever that place was, the village, you know, bringing up children is, it is about all support, us supporting each other as well, which is
it's something we do naturally.
Yeah.
And that was reinforced during that time when all that stuff was happening to me. That was reinforced. I already knew that was the case. It's not something I ever thought wasn't, and it's not a narrative I've ever joined in with the whole women must support each other. Like, we're already doing it. Like, we already know this.
We know this. We've got it.
That was reinforced by that, and that's what I wanted the Festival of Confidence to reinforce as well. Every time something is happening to us, if we really sat down, if you sit back after and analyze it and look back at those points in your life, and you look at who was there for you and the little things they were doing, and it's not like someone coming up and picking you up off the ground. It's someone sending you something in the post. It's someone coming round when you don't want to go out. It's someone literally just messaging you to see if you're all right, or helping you at work or whatever. Women are doing it all the time. We're natural caretakers, but it is something, and that's what the Festival of Confidence is.
I love that.
Women just celebrating their confidence, celebrating each other, and boosting themselves and others as well. And
and that it's okay to do that as well. And not, it comes back to that whole sense of competition as well. I just wanted to ask you, so you love women because they just have that natural empathy. What would be your big life tip for women?
I would say my big life tip for women, and if you want something done, do it right away, do it when you can. It's the only way to live a life without regrets. And that's something, combination of that and everything else my parents had taught me, is just about not being scared. Don't
Yeah.
be scared of what your what your plans are. And I'd say to women, like, I think there are so many things that can hold you back. There are so many things that are designed to hold us back because we are still living in a patriarchy.
And
And
the conditioning.
exactly. So many times where you're going to be told you can't do it. And it's like, frankly, if you don't start it, you'll never know.
No.
Don't be afraid of failing. Just do the thing that you're thinking.
And you
Because
just,
the time that you thought about it, someone else has done it and then you haven't had a chance. So don't be afraid. Just do the thing you're thinking, even if it seems silly or whatever. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. You'll get over it, funnily enough.
and actually you'll learn from it as well, and you'll learn what works for you and what doesn't. But
Yeah.
it is that whole, you've got to, it's that whole, walking through your fears, and just knowing that every time you walk through your fears, you get stronger as a result.
Yeah. Every mistake is a new creation.
Totally.
So
thank you. You have been amazing. I wish all these chats were longer, but I'm going to get you on the podcast as well, because you have so much to say. And we had no sweariness in here as well, which I
know.
love.
I didn't have. God damn it! Shit! I didn't swear once. Sorry.
Thank you so much. I love everything you have to say. I love your energy and amazingly strong, beautiful woman. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. All right. See you soon.